is there a barista here? Because this roast just got dark.
It's offensive comedy at its finest.
And Coulter, if you're here, who's scaring the crows away from our crops?
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 funniest celebrity roasters. For this list, we're looking at the funniest roasters since the advent of the medium. These are the fixtures of the celebrity roasts, who've made the roasties laugh, cringe, or cry depending on the nerve they hit.
Everybody in Hollywood is talking about her, and they all saying the same thing. I think that bitch gave me herpes.
We'll be judging the comedians on their entire body of roast work, rather than any specific set.
Such phenomenal range. You're like the Daniel Day-Lewis of only doing one thing.
Number 10, Anthony Jeselnik.
You've convinced more women to have abortions than the prenatal test for Down syndrome.
Jeselnik is the head of a new generation of roasters. The stand-up comic started as a behind-the-scenes writer for the David Hasselhoff roast, but producers liked his style, and he was offered a performing role at the following event.
The only difference between you and Michael Douglas from the movie Wall Street is that no one's gonna be sad when you get cancer.
The 2011 roast of Donald Trump springboarded his comedy career, as his dark, faux psychopath Patrick Bateman style mixed with masterful joke writing made Jeselnik an instant comedy celebrity.
Making fun of Larry King for being old is like making fun of Marley Matlin for being deaf. It's fun.
He made mincemeat of his fellow roasters, and of course the Donald himself, and would apply the same technique to later roasts of Charlie Sheen and Roseanne Barr, before moving into different comedic ventures.
Last year, my mom should have been celebrating her 60th birthday. But because of drugs, alcohol, and other terrible decisions, we all forgot.
Number 9, Nick DiPaulo.
Adam Carolla. You know, Adam is half Hispanic, which means not only is his last name Carolla, he was probably conceived in one.
Meanness personified is Nick DiPaulo, a no-holds-barred, take-no-prisoners performer whose roast sets are leagues above the competition.
Operation Dumbo Drop. Let me ask you, at what point when you're reading the script did you say, I have to do this f***ing film? Huh?
The veteran comedian first gained national notice as a ball butcher on the 2003 roast of Dennis Leary, where he eviscerated the stage and the grumpy Leary so well that he became a roast regular.
This is ironic. I finally meet the girl of my dreams and I'm shitting on you instead of the other way around.
DiPaulo made additional appearances at the Comedy Central roasts of Jeff Foxworthy, Pamela Anderson, and Larry the Cable Guy, and brought the house down every time.
I saw Larry backstage with a long face, sniffing his fingers. I said, what's the matter? He goes, I miss my family.
His lesser-known but perhaps most revered appearance was at the Howard Stern roast of Artie Lang, where he blurred the line between horrifying and horrifyingly hilarious.
You couldn't be more white trash if you were a MacDonald's bag than a dumpster filled with Courtney Love's tampons.
Number 8, Amy Schumer.
When someone even mentions whose line is it anyway, Carrie Fisher yells out, mine!
After appearing on NBC's Last Comic Standing several years before, Amy Schumer got her big break with the 2011 roast of Charlie Sheen.
But there's no denying how famous you are. I mean, it was international news when you ruined the lives of those two girls living with you. You know, your daughters.
6 million people tuned in to see the largely unknown comedian trounce the competition like few others could.
But no, I could see a girl hooking up with you, Jeff. I mean, I would sit on your face just so I wouldn't have to look at it.
Schumer was both hilarious and ruthless in her dissection of Sheen and Company, but courted controversy with a joke aimed at Steve-O about his Jackass co-star Ryan Dunn's then-recent death.
Sorry for the loss of your friend Ryan Dunn. I know you must have been thinking it could have been me, and I know we were all thinking, why wasn't it?
There's no doubt that this was the set that propelled her career and earned her respect as a roaster.
Roseanne, you have the voice of a parakeet and the face of a much fatter parakeet. You know you're unattractive when Sarah Gilbert is the eye candy on set.
Schumer later appeared on the roast of Roseanne Barr the following year, serving another cocktail of razor-sharp quips before ascending to a higher level of show business.
He was a drunk. He once apologized to me for missing a volleyball game that he was at.
Number 7, Gilbert Gottfried.
David has Hasselhoff walks into a bar every morning and then he stays there till it closes.
Gilbert Gottfried is perhaps best known for his obnoxious voice, but comedy fans know him as a rare, fearless genius.
If only The Simpsons would wipe its ass in front of Seth MacFarlane, he could learn to do it too.
Gottfried is also a legend in roasts, dating back to the 2001 Friars Club roast of Hugh Hefner, where he made an infamous joke about the very recent 9/11 terror attacks. Winding a comedic yarn as no other performer could, Gilbert weaves outlandish stories into his act, along with sharp one-liners to create a roast performance unlike most.
Donald always says money can't buy happiness, but it can buy the best Eastern European whores New York City has to offer.
Gottfried was embraced by Comedy Central for their modern roasts, and luckily he's never wavered from his offbeat and off-color style of humor. As of 2016, he's performed at 7 of their roasts, allowing comedy fans to bask in his offensive glow.
They should call him Asshole Hoff.
Number 6. Norm MacDonald.
Did you know instead of an umbilical cord, John was born with a bungee cord?
Norm MacDonald made just one roast appearance, but it's the most conceptually hilarious set we've ever seen.
Greg Giraldo is here. He has the grace of a swan, the wisdom of an owl, and the eye of an eagle. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is for the birds.
In direct response to a producer telling him to be shocking, Norm decided to borrow material from a 1950s retirement party book. So that meant egregiously corny and outdated jokes that countered the brutal Comedy Central roast formula.
Hey, she may be a vegetarian, but she's still full of baloney in my book.
What followed was a performance that confused, stunned, and shook the audience.
Now, I heard you have hair on your chest, Bob, and, well, let me tell you something. That isn't your only resemblance to Rin Tin Tin.
As the comic delivered benign jokes with feigned sincerity, effectively roasting the concept of a roast. Sure, the audience was disoriented, but the rest of the panel was doubled over laughing, as were those viewers who were in the know about Norm's abstract and provocative nature. No single roast set is more infamous or admired.
He's a good guy, He's never bought Christmas seals. He told me he wouldn't know what to feed them.
Number 5. Lisa Lampanelli.
You are the ultimate proof that money can buy good-looking pussy.
Try as they might, no one can go shot for shot with Lisa Lampanelli. The Queen of Mean became famous solely from her roast performances, which started back in 2002 at the Friars Club roast of Chevy Chase.
He's tall. I love tall guys, because I've dated little guys. In fact, there might be one still inside me.
Lampanelli's no boundaries, sharp wit proved to be a perfect fit, and she saddled up for 10 years of near-annual roast appearances.
This day stinks. Usually I feel bad that guys don't want to pork me. Tonight, I feel lucky.
Her shocking material and bold delivery had a profound effect on her contemporaries, who had never seen a woman hold her own so well in a male-dominated game.
What are you laughing at, Foxworthy? With your 70s porn mustache?
Lampanelli would do more than hold her own, as she became the prized attraction at the Comedy Central roasts, and a fearless master of a brutal craft.
She has dated Scott Baio, the singer from Poison, and the drummer from Motley Crue. Her life story should be a show on VH1 called I F*** the 80s.
Number 4. Richard Pryor.
Sitting next to him is a fat, ugly person.
Richard Pryor is often considered the greatest stand-up comedian in history. And with his profane yet profound humor, it's no surprise he'd be a perfect roaster.
Next to him is a woman who's passed for white for years. Used to be a whore in Detroit.
Pryor was a roast virgin when the short-lived Richard Pryor Show decided to hold a roast.
He's raised a lot of money for young students. In fact, he's paid half the girls at the local high school to keep their mouths shut.
He sat hunched and quiet as many of showbiz's top stars ridiculed and insulted him. including Paul Mooney and Robin Williams.
All he wants is a loose director, a tight script, and a warm place to rehearse.
But when Pryor was given his chance to respond, he torched the room. The god of obscene comedy left the other roasters in ruins, and the audience in comedic heaven.
As you notice, he's trying out for Wolfman next week. He has all that hair on his hands, and it's obvious he jacks off funny because he's...
Number 3, Don Rickles.
The great politician of all time. He laughs at anything. My brother died.
Long before Comedy Central took over, the Dean Martin celebrity roasts were the apex of the medium.
There's no booing. There's no booing. If there's another outburst, we're going to let Bob Hope get up and do his joke.
Hosted by the famous crooner, the roasts were ratings blockbusters, and the king of these events was the legendary ballbuster Don Rickles. It can be argued that Rickles is responsible for the mean nature of today's roasts, as no one was more brutal in the comparatively wholesome 60s and 70s entertainment industry. No topic or person was off limits, as Rickles made fun of every facet of show business, and people laughed harder than biologically possible.
I never tell the truth. I exaggerate. I make fun of blacks, whites, Jews, Jews.
Based on the sheer audience of the Dean Martin roasts, it's likely that Don will stand as the most popular roaster in history.
30 years ago, you were handsome, and now we're going to put Goodyear on your face and fly over the beach for a half hour.
Number 2, Greg Giraldo.
You look like King Lear got trapped in a forest fire.
Undeniably one of the most hilarious roasters of all time, Greg Giraldo is an icon of the medium. A Harvard Law School graduate, Giraldo passed up a life of prestige for a life of chicken wings and drunks on the comedy club circuit.
Good to see you, Lisa. I've never seen a circus bear in a pantsuit before.
Like Lampanelli, he began his televised roast career in 2002 at the Chevy Chase Gala, impressing the crowd with his remarkable wit and killer lines, and he was soon commissioned for other roasts.
A comedy icon and living proof that you could actually snort the funniness right out of yourself.
From 2005 until his death in 2010, Giraldo performed at every Comedy Central roast, a total of 8 appearances, the sum of which accounts for what we can only assume is the highest volume of roast laughs.
Speaking of anal warts, good to see Courtney Love here.
Need proof? Just check out the Larry the Cable Guy, Flavor Flav, or Hasselhoff roasts and doubt no more.
Your liver is so shriveled, black, and dead, if you put your ear to your side, you can hear it go, "What you talking about, Willis?"
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Seems like only yesterday you were discovered on YouTube. Time flies when you're a piece of shit.
You know, most guys know the girlfriend's names at least. Here's the, hey Blondie is not his cute nickname for you.
Jonah actually gained 50 pounds for his role in the new Martin Scorsese film because the producers wanted the character to be a Jonah Hill type.
Roasting Chevy Chase is not as easy as shooting fish in a barrel. It's as easy as looking at fish in a barrel.
Disaster. You're always wearing like spandex around your crotch. You have less sperm in your balls than Pam has in her mouth right now.
Number 1, Jeff Ross.
Donald Trump is such an egomaniac, he makes Hitler seem like he wasn't completely sure how he felt about Jewish people.
With roasting as his specialty, it's fitting that he's been called the meanest man in comedy. Starting as a fresh-faced 33-year-old at the Friars Club roast of Drew Carey, Ross's style was tailor-made for the medium, as he stunned everyone with a perfect inaugural set. This would launch a career that spanned dozens of roasts from the Friars Club to Comedy Central. If there's a roast, Ross will be there.
Come on, man. Charlie, if you're winning, then this must not be a child custody hearing. Only time your kids get to see you is in reruns.
He even inspired a club-hosted roast battle circuit that's making waves in the industry and launching the careers of young comedians. Now, Comedy Central has taken that concept to the small screen, and Ross is the obvious architect. Well, he's called the Roastmaster General for a reason.
Mike, the ironic thing is after all the faces you bashed in, the one you f***ed up the most is your own.
Do you agree with our list? Who's your favorite celebrity roaster?
You are the King Joffrey of pop.
For more hilarious top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Hey, James, knock knock.
Who's there?
I think about you when I jerk off.